Hello, this is the Intraday U.S. stocks and futures market preview and domestic economic data roadmap for Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2020. Interesting trading day on Tuesday. All came down to late in the day, honestly. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form. We do have a 13 sell signal in place. We're still under the risk line, but we have started heading up towards that risk line, so we'll be watching that. Let's go through the daily charts, then we'll look at the intraday action. Go from there. Crude oil has clawed its way up to $37.80. Gold down $6.40 to $1727.70. The S&P gained 25 points on this move on Tuesday. Nasdaq 100 up 58.48. There's a 13 sell signal in place there as we are now within striking distance of all-time highs. Gaps to fill, but the 13 sell signal risk line right there. That risk line is the thing to watch. You know how we stall out often at the risk lines. The stock's up 40. It doesn't do much for us. The biotech's just up 11. They've been sitting at highest for a while. The Russell 2000 up 12 points to 1418. That's barely halfway back from the drop. The VIX loses $1.39 to 26.84. It's still above the risk line. So everything is still in place for all the sell signals on the market indices and the buy signal on the VIX. We've not really breached anything that matters. Trend closes at 0.73. Again, that puts the 10-day moving average at 1.29, which is not a signal. NASDAQ volume was 3.9 billion shares. The advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ was plus 778. That's more stocks up than down, obviously. On the New York, even though the S&P was barely up most of the day until the last few minutes, it was way in the positive, plus 1405 by the close, but it was way up there all day long. Google gained $7.44. That's a new high since the plunge. Apple up $1.49. Right up against the risk line again, as we've talked about. Netflix up $1.39. That's a blip for Netflix. Amazon up $1.37. Also a blip, but Tesla was down 16.54, getting near a 13 sell signal again there against the highs. Facebook up 81 cents. That's a 12, so it'll be a 13 sell signal on Facebook on the daily chart if we have an update tomorrow. And by the way, that's the first one since back in January. Goldman Sachs gains $4.21. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, down 59 cents. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 267. All right, if we look at the intraday action here, 5-minute charts, it hasn't been very interesting. This has really been the problem. Continues. It's been like this for a couple of weeks. And you got to be careful because there's just not a lot to call when you have a dead market. So Monday we had gapped down a little bit, filled the gap, drifted, but look how tiny those candles were all day long. On Tuesday we gapped up, filled the gap pretty early, tried to turn up, and then rolled back down. We were at lows about 2 hours in, and then by the time you're going into lunch, you're right where you opened, basically flat for the day. A little bit of a drift, but again, really nothing for 4 hours. It's just back and forth, and then it's only the last 15 minutes of the day where we get a little rally, and that causes the gain. So that's not really that interesting. In terms of economic data on Wednesday, ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Final services PMI at 9:45. Factory orders and ISM non-manufacturing PMI at 10, and crude oil inventories at 10:30. We will just call it and see what we get. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken the trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading Wednesday.